And welcome back to another episode of Born to Talk About Sports. I am your host, Steve Bourne. And first off, I want to apologize for this video being a bit late. Work and life get in the way. But I'm back, and I'm going to talk about video review in sports and how far it's come and where is it likely going to go. Video review in sports, well, really the four main sports in North America really only started started the NHL in back as early as the 90s with when they determined if pucks were kicked in, crossed the goal line completely, or played with a high stick. And then video review really wasn't a thing for other sports until about the mid 2000s when the NFL started adopting it for coaches' challenges, primarily for catch, no catch, feed and bounce kind of deal. And then it started expanding. Major League Baseball expanded it into in the 2010s, and the NBA finally did it as well. Their NBA system's kind of convoluted as well, but it's mostly for, I guess, referees to determine if they got a call right, or if a ball is out of bounds by which team, I guess. But and then like in the I guess it was around the 2016 NHL season is where they expanded it for coaches challenge for them for goals that were when the puck came into the zone offside or any goalie interference, and now you can challenge for any infraction that led to a goal, whether it be a glove pass or kicked in or distinct kicking motion, I guess is what they call it these days, which is beauty in the, or it's in the eye of the beholder. What's definition of a kicking motion? And hell, I mean, they even got the rule right now where even if you kick it, it could bounce off bounce off the entire opposition and it would still not count because the player who would benefit or the team that benefit the last time they touched it was a kick. So I mean, obviously that's a bit of a loophole in the rule. Just for an example, I saw was it a Leaf game earlier this year. Rookie Bobby McMahon, he actually meant to kick it back. So he kicked it away from the net, went off a defenseman's skate, and then ricocheted in, and they waved it off because he was the last one to touch it, and it was considered a distinct kicking motion. So there's always rules and loopholes that leagues need to fix to make sure they actually get the calls right instead of just using practicality. But again, these rules are written up by lawyers, so I mean, you have to go by there's no such thing as practicality. It's just, that's the rule, that's the way it is. NFL has been tinkering with it. They tried the 1 year of challenging for pass interference, and obviously the refs didn't like being overturned on their calls. So now I don't think one pass interference non-call or call was overturned, and so they decided, oh, it didn't work, so we're going to get rid of it. It all happened because of that infamous, the NFC Championship game with the Rams, with the Rams benefiting. When obviously they were not ready for the Super Bowl because they got like 3 points against the Patriots, and Brady's last Super Bowl win as a New England Patriot. But that being said, though, Major League Baseball has expanded their challenge system for used to be just catch no catch, fair foul, and home run. Determined now for any runner's interference, catchers illegally blocking the plate, or anybody illegally blocking a base. You can challenge that for. It's pretty. The only really thing I don't think you can challenge for that probably should is if foul ball went off the batter's toe or anything and then dribbles out to the infield. If the umpire doesn't see it and runner goes for a base hit, you can't challenge that for whatever reason. You can challenge now to see if a ball actually hit the batter or not, or a pitch hit the batter or not. But pretty much for almost everything else, Major League Baseball that you can ask for a review for, you can now. And with the new rules, I don't know if video review would come into play on that, especially for pitch clocks, because the umpire actually has a buzzer on his wrist, And if that buzzer goes off before the pitcher starts his motion, time is called, add a ball to the count, and restart the pitch clock. Or if the batter is not ready within 8 seconds, like facing the pitcher in 8 seconds, ump calls time, adds a strike to the count, and so on and so on. But with the NFL, there was talk of adding video review to for potential roughing the passer, because after a couple of really weak roughing the passer calls that made national headlines, including the one that happened again, NFL's golden boy at the time, Tom Brady, got just a basic, almost like an alligator tackle. The guy grabbed him from behind and just rolled him to the ground. And because it was Tom Brady, ref couldn't throw that flag fast enough. And then there was a perfectly legal hit in a Bills-Jets game where Matt Milano turned Mike White into, I guess it was a human accordion, where he completely folded him up in half. And as Pat McAfee would say, his spleen met his spine, cracked a couple of ribs, and unfortunately, it was a clean, beautiful hit that just made you cringe. But it did cost Mike White his season, and now he's with the Dolphins, backing up Tua Tagovailoa. So good to see that Mike White, the injury wasn't too bad, but video review showed it was a perfectly legal hit. He launched himself while the quarterback still had the ball in his hands, so it wasn't a late hit or roughing the passer. But that's where video review can come into play, and I think, especially if you're going to define exactly what it is roughing the passer, whether it be a late hit or too violent a takedown, I guess is the best way to put it. Have a second look at it. Don't instantly give a team 15 yards or take away 15 yards to the defense. But NHL video review, they're going to be talking in the offseason potentially for video review for shooting the puck over the glass. Is that if you can challenge for if it was deflected or not, and if the ref didn't call it, or any high sticking penalty, whether it be your own, a teammate's, or if a player, say the stick is right here and the player still snaps his head back, basically a dive. You can challenge that. Personally, I like to see if a player is accused of diving, I like to see a coach challenge that to begin with. It's one way to get that stuff out of the league. Or it's like a player, his stick is just lightly tapped and then he drops it, and it's like, it's a slashing penalty. Stuff like that, it wouldn't add like 20 minutes to the game. It would add 30 seconds tops. You just quickly review. It's like, yeah, that's obvious, and call it. With the NBA, honestly, if you could challenge every single foul call, the game would last forever, because again, the refs call everything now. They call it by the rule of the book. It's like completely opposite of the 80s and 90s, where you could pretty much almost elbow a guy in the eye. The guy would have a shiner, and the ref would say, okay, next time I'll think about calling a foul. I mean, some superstars in the league still get that treatment. I remember back in when the Raptors played, Orlando, and Dwight Howard was playing for the Magic. Andrea Bargnani, by the end of that series, had 2 black eyes. And next thing you know, next season, Dwight Howard's not getting those calls anymore, because, let's face it, the referees in that series made the rest of the referees in the league look bad. Going, okay, yeah, superstar calls, but this guy literally had 2 black eyes by the end of the series because he kept on getting elbowed in the face, and it was just, play on. Now you could probably Now, I think eventually you'll be able to challenge certain non-calls, especially if a player goes down and the referees didn't see it. Maybe in the future you'll be able to challenge that. Same in the NHL. Excuse me, where say if a player is knocked out with a incidental contact, or referees just said play on, but if your coach wants to go, come on, have a look at this. This is obviously a penalty. You can challenge that. And again, it wouldn't take long. It's not like seeing if the puck barely crossed the goal line or something like that. That could take a while. But with video review, though, it's a blessing and it's a curse because with the way the challenge system in pro sports is defined, where it has to be enough to overturn the original call. In some cases, I agree with it. Some cases, I just say, you know what? What do you see? If the original call says one thing and there's not enough evidence to overturn it, fine. But if it's like painfully obvious, just I don't care if it's not enough to overturn it. If it's still obvious, call it. But it's the way it is, unfortunately. Especially like say, just go back to hockey. If a goalie puts his glove over the puck and it goes behind the line, but you can't see the puck over the line because his glove is blocking it, but it's obvious. It's obviously a goal, but they'll say there's not enough evidence to overturn because you don't know where the puck is in his mitt. It could still be partially on the line. So it's situations like that, I guess. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of video review. Where do you think it's going? Where do you think it should end? And also just one more thing before I sign off. It's next year in Major League Baseball. They're going to have the strike zone challenge system, where it'll be a lot similar like tennis, where you get up to 3 incorrect challenges. And it's basically after the ump makes the call, if one team doesn't agree with it, it'll go up. You'll see, just like in tennis, where it'll have the big video board, and you'll see the ball go in. If it goes through that virtual strike zone, it's a strike. If it misses, it's not, and it's a ball. They've been testing out in the minors. They're testing it out in AAA baseball this year, and it should be ready to go for Major League Baseball next year. And like I said, tell me what you think of video review. Where do you? It's obvious. It's obviously the point is to get the call right, especially with gambling right now. You can't, especially with human emotions. Officials are human too, and let's face it. If a coach or a player pisses you off, you're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt half the time. So yeah, that's a bit of a long video, making up for some previous ones or previous non-videos. Yeah, I hope to be back next week. If not, because it's Easter, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And get ready for the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs. Till then, use the hashtag over here, BourneSports. And I'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe.